Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be trying out some new drugstore makeup. I have some really fun stuff here. I have new palettes from Catrice. I have a new foundation from L'Oreal, which is a serum foundation. I also have some new plumping lip glosses from L'Oreal and Essence and a bunch more. So let's go ahead and jump right in and try everything on. All right guys, so first up, I want to try out this new What the Fake Plumping Lip Filler by Essence. This says it has hyaluronic acid and a translucent pearly finish. So it's supposed to give an instant plumping effect and hydrated, visibly fuller lips, high shine finish, and super smooth lip surface. It also says it has a cooling and tingling effect. I don't mind that as long as it's not a burning type of situation. And I think usually these things with hyaluronic acid are not those types of plumpers that really sting your lips. They're just really supposed to infuse your lips with hyaluronic acid for a little bit of a boost. So I figured I'd just put this on first and let it kind of sit while I'm doing the rest of my makeup, and we can see if it's actually making a difference. All right, so I feel the cooling, tingling sensation right away. It is definitely already kind of smoothing out my lip lines. Not completely, but I definitely think they look a little bit more plumped up, which is a good thing. So we'll just let this sit for a while and come back to it later. Next, I have the new L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. It has 1% hyaluronic acid. And look at this color, guys. I got shade light, and it looks really deep for my skin tone, but they did have a fair option, and normally I'm not the lightest shade. I'm usually shade 2, which this is, but when I looked back at the Amazon listing, because that's actually the only place you can get this right now, when I looked back at the Amazon listing, it showed that shade number 1 was actually for like a range of skin tones, and then shade number 2 was for another range, and I kind of fell in that range, at least by the photos of the women that they had in there. I think I was probably more number 1, so I kind of made a mistake. I didn't really read the whole listing. I just saw that this was out, put it right in my cart. I didn't really investigate it too much. So anyway, I did try this yesterday already. So this is not a first impression. And I was very impressed when I first applied it. It's like a really thin serum-like consistency. And it looked really good when I was in indoor lighting. I thought it looked amazing. It doesn't have like super high coverage. It's a very light coverage, very sheer, very similar to other serum foundations. But I just thought it looked so good. And then I went outside and I felt like I could see every single pore in my cheeks. It just magnified everything. I don't know if it was sinking into my pores or maybe if it's the glowiness that's in this foundation, because I'll show you guys like a close-up of the bottle. You can see that it has a sheen, almost like a liquid highlighter. So it could be a combination of things, probably that it's just really glowy. And like I said, it looks so good when you're in indoor lighting, but when you go outside, it's not so great. So what I wanted to do is maybe use a pore filling primer first this time before I put this on, and then we'll see if that helps, because I didn't use any primers yesterday. And I got this new primer from Essence. It's called the Poreless and Skin Blurring Putty Primer. It's silicone free. It also has smoothing squalane. So it sounded really good. I want to see if it lives up to my L'Oreal Studio Secrets. I have this here too, just in case this isn't working out so well. And I did hear that the L'Oreal one is being discontinued, which I'm so bummed about. I have to still buy some backups because I haven't been without that product in like the last 10 years since they've had it out. So anyway, this seems to have a really nice creamy consistency. It feels really good. It's kind of whipped, not exactly like the L'Oreal, but it has a similar feel, definitely. So I'm optimistic about this one. It does have that really smoothing feel going on your skin, and actually it feels like there's silicone in here. So it's kind of cool that there's no silicone, but it still gives you that same effect. We'll see how it blurs my pores. All right, so let's take a close-up look at this one. I feel like I can still see my pores. I don't think it does as good a job as the L'Oreal, but my skin definitely feels a lot smoother, and my pores are definitely diminished. I don't think they're quite as prominent as they were before. Okay, so next up, let's go ahead and try this foundation on again. And just quickly, I want to read you the benefits. It says, the skin benefits of a hyaluronic acid serum now tinted. Instantly, skin feels hydrated and then healthier over time. And I've tried a lot of serum foundations before, but this one feels even more like a serum than some of the others that I've tried. It really is just like a hyaluronic acid serum with some tint to it. That's what it feels like. It definitely feels like you're putting on skincare versus makeup. So it just has this dropper style bottle, which I'm not the biggest fan of. And when it came from Amazon, there was no like safety seal or anything, which kind of worried me a little bit because I felt like anybody could just open it right up. But I guess we're just going to take our chances here. So anyway, I'm going to be using the Sigma flat kabuki brush. This is the F80. And let's go ahead and see what happens. I'm very curious to see if it's going to change over the primer. But I don't know if you guys can see this, but it just basically looks like I'm applying skincare. Like, look at the glow that this has. The color is definitely a little bit too deep for me, but it's so sheer that I feel like I could still make it work. And I would say the coverage is definitely sheer. You have to be okay with a little bit of redness coming through, or like in my case, sunspots and freckling. It's definitely not going to hide that stuff. I'm also just gonna take this down my neck a little bit so that at least it matches my face. All right, so foundation is done. I'm going to just quickly, before I put any other powders or blush on my face, which I feel like might affect things a little bit, I'm gonna go take my outdoor lighting shots and we'll see how it's different from yesterday's with the primer. And actually I can't go outside today because it's raining. So I'm gonna just go near the window in the same area by my deck where I took the shots yesterday. And from there, we'll see what it looks like in natural lighting. All right, guys, so I was able to go outside. There was a little break in the rain, so I want to show you that footage. And I mean, I think it was a little bit better with the primer. I didn't see quite as much of my pores, but definitely was still accentuating them a bit. And I think I'm having the same issue with this as I did with the Flower Beauty Light Illusion foundation. I know everybody like raved about that one, but for some reason it just really made my pores look super prominent. And I think it was because it was a glowy formula, just like this one. So I think for those of us with textured skin, sometimes a little bit of glow can amplify that. So for me, I wasn't a super big fan of this. I do really enjoy the new Flower Beauty Get Real Serum foundation. That one has no glow in it. It's very similar to this. Plus there's like so many other skin tints that are on the market. The Age Perfect from L'Oreal I like better than this one as well, just because again, it doesn't have that glowiness to it and it just sits on my skin a little bit more nicely. So anyway, next let's move on to eyes, and I'm gonna prime my eyes with the Sigma eyeshadow base primer in the shade Ignite. I love this eyeshadow primer because it's in a stick form, so it's super quick and easy. And it's really good too. It doesn't stay tacky, so I feel like eyeshadow just blends really nicely over it. And also it has a little bit of a tint, so it cancels out any discoloration that's on your eyes, and it just makes the eyeshadows pop a little bit more. So while we're waiting for that to set down, I wanted to show you these two new eyeshadow palettes that I got from Ulta. These are the Catrice Pro Slim eyeshadow palettes, and they are really super slim and skinny, perfect for travel. We have the Peach Origin and Lavender Breeze. So let me quickly show you guys some swatches of these, and we'll take a look at the peach one first. And I think this is so pretty. If you like those warm peachy neutrals, there are two shades in here that have a little bit more texture to them. They have a little bit of marbling running through. Out of 14 shades, you have 8 mattes, 6 shimmers. I think it's a really, really nice balance. And I really enjoyed their Bay palettes that they came out with a while ago. So I'm hoping that this formula is really similar. Obviously, you can't tell by swatches, so we're definitely going to use one of these today. The other one is Lavender Breeze, and I think I'm probably going to use this one. This looks so beautiful. It reminds me a little bit of the Norvina palette from Anastasia, the original one, so I'm excited to use it. This one also has those marbled shades, and it has 9 mattes and 5 shimmer shades. So let's go ahead, I guess, and use the lavender one because I just think this looks so pretty. And I'm actually going to use a new technique that I saw randomly recommended to me on YouTube the other day. And it's from someone called Smitha. I know her first name is Smitha. I can't remember her last name, but I'll link the video down below. She has like a lot of subscribers. She's huge, and I have no idea how I never have heard of her before, but she used this technique where she took a little sponge tip applicator and made like a C like this with the crease color, and then she made a smaller C in the outer corner with a deeper shade, and then she took a brush and just kind of dabbed it all together and like blended it all together. And then she applied the shimmer shade and then dabbed that all together with what she called a dabbing brush. It's from Milani, the one that she used. I don't have one like that, but it looked like kind of a round, dense brush. So I'm gonna just use this one. It looks kind of similar. It's the Sigma Exact Blend E32. I think the Milani one looked a little bit rounder than this one, but it looked like very similar density. So we're gonna try this technique out. It just looked really quick and easy and simple, and that's what I love. So I think I'm gonna start with this lavender shade up here called Lover, and this one's gonna be the crease shade. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on the sponge tip applicator, and let's see what happens. I do have hooded eyes, so I don't know if it's gonna work the same way as it did on her, but basically she kind of started like just the outer portion of her eye. She didn't go all the way into her crease with it, and she just made a big circle like this. And then she took a deeper shade, so I think I'm gonna just go with this one right here called Deep at the very bottom. I don't even know if this lavender shade is like a deep enough crease color, what I wanted. I'm having so much trouble making this little C. I don't know how she did it. She just kind of went whoop, like that, but this is kind of pulling on my eyelid. Maybe it's just because my eyelids are not as tight as they once were, but I just kind of made a big splotch here, so whatever. We're gonna see what happens. So I'm just gonna take this brush, and then what she did was just dabbed them together like this and just kind of blended them out. So we'll see how this works. I don't know if it's just gonna make a big mess or what. I don't know if I should even be trying this technique with a new palette. I don't think this brush is good. I think I need something bigger. So this is the Sigma tapered blending brush, the E40. I don't know, the dabbing isn't working so well. I'm just gonna make, I guess, like little circles and see if that helps. I think part of the issue is that light purple shade that I first put down was really light, and it just kind of disappeared. Like I don't really see it at all. I think I'm just gonna add a little bit more and just try to blend out this dark shade a little. Okay, so I think I have that blended out pretty well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. Try to make the little C that she does, but yeah, it doesn't work so well, on me at least. And then just blend these two colors together. I don't know, she made it look so super easy, so maybe it's me. It could be this palette that maybe it's just not blending the way it did for her with the dabbing, or maybe I'm just using the wrong kind of brush. I don't know. I'm gonna keep practicing it because it just looked like a really quick and easy way to blend eyeshadow, because I feel like that's something that I always struggle with, is the blending part. So I wouldn't use me as the prime example. Definitely check out her video and see if you guys can recreate it, because it just looked really cool. So anyway, the next thing she said to do was to put your shimmer shade all over your lid with the sponge tip applicator. So I'm gonna, I think, try this shade Dazzling right here. It's like a grayish silver with some purple running through it. I don't know if it's really showing up with the sponge tip or if it's the palette again. So I'm just gonna pick it up on my finger like I always do, and hopefully that'll help it to show up just a little bit better, because it's really not showing up. Okay, that's a lot better. I think it's just the sponge tip applicator. Okay, so she said once you apply that, then to take the dabbing brush again and just dab it into the other shades and just kind of blend everything all together for a really seamless blend. But I feel like when I do this, it takes down the shine of the shimmer shade a little bit, actually a lot. All right, so I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna pat it on with my finger because I feel like that's how it looks best, at least with this palette. Maybe other palettes that are a little bit more pigmented might work better with her method, but I just feel like this one isn't. These shimmer shades definitely feel like a little drier. They're a little difficult to pick up. They're very, very sheer. for the most part. So I think if you're looking for something with a lot of pigmentation, you're probably not going to find it here. All right, then I'm just going to run a little bit of that deeper shade that I used in my outer corner along my lower lash line with the sponge tip. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and apply mascara, and I'm going to be using the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect. This is truly one of my favorite drugstore mascaras of all time. It just gives me such big lashes. I did try their new one, the Lash Princess Curl, in my Sunday haul video. I felt like it was nice. It definitely gives more of a natural looking effect versus this one. It didn't give quite as much volume, and it's definitely not as wet of a formula. It's really like lightweight, so it does help to curl up your lashes a little bit more. All right, so eyes are done. I'm just gonna apply a little bit of concealer to my nose area because I feel like it just looks really red compared to the rest of my face. And I'm gonna be using the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define in the shade C3. I'm just gonna use my finger really quick. I love this concealer. It's so creamy and it just has a really skin-like effect. It's pretty undetectable. And I'm just also gonna add a little bit to my cheek area because my dark spots are still showing through quite a bit with this foundation. All right, so next I'm gonna bronze just a little bit with the new Juvia's Place bronzed palette. This one's in the shade Light. You have two different shades of bronzer in here, so it's such a good palette. I like this one. It's a little bit more on the cool tone side, but if you wanted to warm up your face, you could always use this one too. And really, I don't feel like I need a lot of bronzer because that foundation is a bit darker than my skin tone as it is, but I'm just gonna apply it a little bit to the perimeter, and I'm using this giant Rephr brush. This is the number 25. It is very pricey, but it is such a nice bronzer brush because it's just so big and fluffy, and it really distributes the product nicely. And as you can see, I've used it a bunch already for bronzer. I think it's supposed to be an all over face powder brush, but since I have really dry skin, I don't normally set my face with powder. And it also gives like a very, very seamless blended out effect. And then for blush, Catrice actually came out with a new blush at Ulta. It's called the Cheek Cover Oil Infused Blush, which sounds really interesting. It's actually a baked formula and it seemed to only come in one shade. I don't know if they're going to be adding more. On the back, it says Silky Smooth Baked Powder Blush with Fine Golden Shimmer for Glowy Cheeks, infused with caring coconut oil and hibiscus extract. And it's made in Italy, where all of my favorite baked powder blushes are made, like the Milani ones and the Laura Geller. So I'm going to use my Flower Beauty blush brush, my favorite blush brush of all time. Just pick up a little bit of this. I really do like this color for my skin tone. I think, I hope at least that they'll come out with additional shades because I don't think this will work on deeper skin tones. I mean, I swirled my brush in it quite a lot and it's not that dark at all. So it's beautiful. I mean, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous blush. And for me, it's not really accentuating my pores too much because I'm applying it a little bit higher up on the cheekbone, and I feel like most of my pores are down in this area right here near my nose and around my mouth. Yeah, this is beautiful, but very, very sheer. So anyway, when it comes to lips, let's see how the Essence one is holding up. I still feel it. I don't think it looks quite as glossy as it did when I first applied. I do still see the pearlescent effect a little bit. The tingling completely went away. That lasted for like a couple of minutes at the most. And I don't know if it really smoothed out my lip lines that much, maybe just a tiny little bit, but I still see most of them. I'm not sure that I even see a lot of plumping going on. I feel like my lips look kind of the same. And then speaking of lip plumping, I actually got two new glosses from L'Oreal. These are the Infallible Pro Gloss Plump. And these also claim to have hyaluronic acid as the main plumping ingredient. They're just supposed to really nourish and hydrate your lips. And I got them in two shades, 606 Mauve Glow and 610 Nude Twinkle. And both of these do have a little bit of a sheen to them, or like a little like tiny micro glitters, but I think Nude Twinkle has a bit more than the Mauve Glow. And these are also a little bit more on the sheer side. So I figured I would line my lips first just to add a little bit more color since these don't really show up that much. So I'm going to use my Kokie lip liner in the shade Dusty Rose. These are my favorite lip liners. If you're new to my channel, I have talked about them many, many times, and they're just so creamy and you can fill in your lips just like lipstick with them. They are amazing. All right, so there's that color, and then I'm gonna go ahead and top it with the Mauve Glow shade. I think it'll go really nicely together. So these have the scent that all of the other L'Oreal Infallible lip products have. It's kind of like slightly perfumey, slightly minty. It's really hard to place. I'm not a big, huge fan of it. Wow, this is starting to tingle right away. Much more, I think, intense than the Essence one for sure. It has kind of like that menthol-y type of feel. It's definitely not like a burning or stinging. It's not uncomfortable, but I definitely know it's there. And as this is setting down a little bit, I'm noticing that it feels very, very sticky. So that could be good and bad. Good in the sense that it'll probably last quite a while on my lips, but bad in the sense that I'm just not a fan of feeling like that sticky feeling when I press my lips together, or if my hair is blowing in the wind and gets stuck in it. But again, I'm not really seeing any immediate plumping effect. I think my lip lines still look pretty much the same as they always do. So I don't know if these lip pumpers are just something that's gonna have to work over time or not. Anyway, let's just quickly go through my thoughts on all these products. I think the Essence Primer, it's decent. I think it did a pretty good job at smoothing out my complexion, especially for the price. Is it as good at pore smoothing as my L'Oreal Studio Secrets? Not quite, but I think it is a really nice silicone-free option if you are looking for that. And also it just gave me a really nice canvas to put my makeup on. It didn't pill or anything either, so I think that was pretty good. As far as the foundation goes, I'm not really a fan of this one, sadly. I did really like the feel of it. I think it feels like you're putting skincare on, which was so nice, but the glow that's in here is just a little bit too much for me as far as going outdoors. And you know, I don't live here in my studio with the lights, so I need something that's going to actually look natural on my skin and not accentuate all my pores. As far as these palettes go, I think they're okay. They're definitely not my favorite formula. Again, I'm gonna have to play with them a little bit, but even without doing that new method, I could tell you just by applying the shimmer shades like I usually do, that these shimmers do feel a little bit drier. They're not rich and buttery. They're not like Catrice's other palettes, the Bay ones that I was talking about. Those have really nice, smooth, buttery shimmers. These don't. The formula in here definitely doesn't feel quite as high-end as that. It feels a little bit more cheap. So a little bit disappointed with these, but again, I will play with them some more and let you guys know in a future update video what I think. As far as the Catrice Cheek Lover blush, I love this. I think this is beautiful. I will definitely continue to use this. I think this is a really good find. The Juvia's Place bronzer, I have used this multiple times already. I really enjoy it a lot. I think the formula is amazing. As far as the What the Fake plumping gloss, I didn't really see any plumping from it. I think maybe, again, it's something that I'll have to use over time to see any type of results. I think it did hydrate my lips really nicely while I was applying the rest of my makeup. So I think when I applied the lip liner on top of it, it went on really smoothly and everything. So I will give it that. I think it's a really nice hydrating treatment, but I didn't really see much plumping. And then as far as these L'Oreal plumping glosses, same thing. If it works more long term, that's one thing, and that's something that I'm just gonna have to, again, let you guys know maybe in a few weeks after I've been using them a bunch. But as far as an immediate plumping effect, I really don't see it. I also don't see it like filling in my lip lines. I feel like they look pretty much exactly the same as they always do. So I don't know, there were quite a few misses today. I think the biggest hit was definitely this blush, followed by the primer. Everything else was just okay to not so great. So anyway, guys, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What do you think? Have you tried any of these products yet? What are your thoughts on them? Or are you planning on checking them out for yourself? I always love chatting with you guys down in the comments. And also, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well if you like drugstore makeup and dupes, because I do a lot of that here on my channel. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today as always, and I will see you in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye.